Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race that might be the path to finding the winner. Well, it's the calm before the storm this Sunday at Sha Tin, a mixed all-weather and turf meeting, and of course leads us into the big events of International Week next week. But there are still winners to find. And the first race we're going to have a look at is race 4, where our winning factor is the conversion rate. Now, this is a class 4 over 1200 metres, and there might be support for a couple of other runners, but for me this race really boils down to 3 strong chances. Last start winner Telecom Dragon, the informed Strath Peffer from the Douglas White Yard, and the unraced David Hayes trained Ka Ying Rising. And there's a real talking horse in this race, Ka Ying Rising. Now, he hasn't had a race start yet, but he has had 6 barrier trials, 1 in Australia, 5 in Hong Kong, and he's won the lot of them. So I'm sure he's going to be the street corner tip of the day for Sunday's meeting. And let's have a look at his latest trial to see what it's all about. So this is November 24, batch 3, and he's in gate 2, blue with red sleeves, Ka Ying Rising. He jumps well enough, but not quite as quick as Speedy Fortune, another runner in Sunday's race, from the outside. And although Ka Ying Rising then builds pace inside and has an opportunity to hold the front, Zach Purton aboard ultimately decides to let Speedy Fortune have the lead, and from there they keep those spots 1-2 until they get into the home straight. And Speedy Fortune, well, he does put up a length or 2 lead at that point, but Purton is sitting very quietly on Ka Ying Rising, and he picks up the leader as he likes and wins without spending his full effort. And I can say that pretty much most of Ka Ying Rising's barrier trials have looked like that, doing it very easily. Many of them in quite slow times, so there wasn't real pressure in those trials, and that can be deceptive. However, the one we've just seen, the times were sound enough, and he's clearly a horse of some promise. Also a horse of some promise is Raging Blizzard. Okay, he's not in this race, but the horse that stretched him last start is. We're going to take a look at that now. This is race 178, gate 3, purple colours, and Keegan de Mello gets Strath Peffer out quickly and into a position following the speed, which is significant early, the average pace for the first 400 metres, but that ramps up as the 2 leaders are running keenly and they go to war in the middle stages. Strath Peffer, he's just in a great spot throughout, but so is the eventual winner just outside him in the blue colours. And down the straight, well, they're locked in battle. Not much between them until Raging Blizzard gets about a half length clear in the last 200 metres, and they do come away from the rest. So that was excellent from Strath Peffer. He's still a maiden, but he has been knocking on the door for that first win in recent times. And when we have a look at the map, I think he's going to get a very similar run to the one that we saw there. It's an odd looking sort of a sprint race, this, with not many genuinely fast horses. So there is some question over just how strong the speed will be, and a lot of that will depend on the chemistry of the 2 most likely front runners, Speedy Fortune and Ka Ying Rising, who are both drawn in the outside half of the field. So they will have to do a little bit early to get across the field, and that's our chance of getting a genuine speed. Now, Speedy Fortune was drawn outside Ka Ying Rising in that trial we saw. He's once again drawn quite a bit wider than Ka Ying Rising, and just like that trial we saw, I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Purton lets Speedy Fortune head him rather than getting into a duel for the front, thinking that he'll be able to pick him up whenever he likes later in the race. Another group of runners with a little bit of tactical speed, including Strath Peffer from his inside draw. They look like getting the next positions, with the other horse I mentioned as a strong chance in the race. He's probably a little bit further back than them. So it's not that easy to split these horses. They all probably are going to get pretty much what they want in this race to perform. So I'm looking for a different angle, and that's where trainer conversions come up. So when I talk about conversion rates, I'm talking about how a trainer performs with horses that have run well without winning, say second, third, fourth, but they're advertising themselves as coming winners. And with some trainers, they answer the advertising. With some other trainers, the horses don't turn up next time. So it's always an interesting stat for me, as it also tends to be a bit of a predictor of a trainer headed for a better than usual season. And Strathpeffer's trainer, Douglas White, is a surprise leader on the conversion rates at this stage, at least in terms of the winners produced. And he's close to the top on other metrics as well. Now, White has done a terrific job at each of his 4 seasons since switching to training, but has only ever been somewhere in the middle on conversion rate tables until now. It's early days, but this stat is certainly suggesting a particularly good season for the yard. So the tip in race 4 from me is Strathpeffer. His winning factor, the conversion rate. Now, there's plenty of good form reasons to think that he'll be fighting out the finish here. However, the record this season of his trainer with the horses that put the writing on the wall is swinging me to his way as the top pick. The other race I want to take a look at on Sunday is race 6, where our winning factor is the weights. Now, this is a very good Class 2, a dirt sprint, and a good field lining up here. Packing Treadmill and Flying Ace, both racing really well, and they've clashed several times lately without a lot between them. This is their first time on the dirt surface. Chan Chang Prince is always a chance in anything on the dirt. Majestic Star has probably been seen at his best on this surface, and Youthful Deal, he was a big find as a dirt sprinter last season. For me, the best chances here are Youthful Deal, Packing Treadmill and Flying Ace, and the latter two have met at their last 4 starts each, with Packing Treadmill finishing in front of Flying Ace in 3 of those meetings. The latest of them, let's take a look at that. This is going back to race 179 of the current season. Gate 2, blue and white with a pink cap, is Packing Treadmill. Gate 9, yellow and black, is Flying Ace. And because of that wider draw and his lack of early speed, Flying Ace goes back to the rear, while Lyle Hewitson makes the tactical choice to lead on Packing Treadmill despite his big handicap. And that was a very smart decision in a race where the lead was up for grabs. Packing Treadmill gets the front without burning himself up, controls the tempo, then sprints hard in the straight, looking the winner until Helios Express, with a 13-pound weight pull, gets over him near home. And you can see there, Flying Ace, after giving a big start, was a huge performance, running very fast final sectionals, getting home into third. That is a situation that he finds himself in often, because that is his racing style, but he's certainly going well enough to win a race. The other horse I mentioned as a leading contender here, Youthful Deal. Well, he's had 7 attempts on the dirt, and last start was his first failure on the surface, but that was over 1,650 metres. He now comes back to the distance where he's won 4 out of 6, and I thought it was worth going back to last season for his most recent attempt at this course and distance to see just how good he is at it. This is race 719 of last season. He's in dark blue, green and yellow from gate 5, and Vincent Ho has Youthful Deal quickly into a stalking spot behind a speed that is very competitive from the likes of Campione and Majestic Star. And this couldn't have worked out better for him. Also worth keeping an eye here on the grey, Chan Cheng Prince, who gets held up early in the straight. But this race was literally a point and shoot for Vincent Ho on the favourite. The only decision he has to make on Youthful Deal is when to let him go and when to ease him down for a very easy victory. And I can see those decisions being the ones he could have to make again on Sunday, when to let him go. And when we look at the map, this time he's drawn gate 2. Again, we have speed from Campione and Majestic Star, better drawn this time than in the video that we saw. And you can add the speedy Kerpenny, Ping Hai Galaxy and the habitual leader Exponential to that mix. So the pace looks at least genuine, potentially faster. We did see Packing Treadmill lead last start, which was a smart choice by Lyle Hewitson there, but I wouldn't be surprised this time, with all those regular leaders in the race, that he's more conservative and takes a sit behind, where he'll be looking to outmanoeuvre Ho on Youthful Deal to his inside, maybe even looking to keep him pocketed. But I think they get the best spot in the race tactically. Flying Ace, he's drawn outside them. He might not be as far back this time, but he will still be back in the field. For me, the tip in race 6 is Youthful Deal. His winning factor, the weights. Now, I did mention in the video there that when Packing Treadmill was beaten last time, it was really because he had to give £13 to a very talented rival. Well, it isn't £13 this time, but he does have to give £10 to Youthful Deal, and I think that might be the thing that separates them at the finish. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.